Apparently, an aerial hose that would have reached the 10th floor of the building was not sent to the site until 24 minutes after the first crews arrived on the scene, or were dispatched. And I think it's important to remember that our response to tragedies like this reveals a lot about our health as a society. One of the things I didn't like in the aftermath of Grenfell was the way it was politicised so quickly. I think there's just too much politics in this country sometimes. Everything's political. And we had, and it wasn't just Jeremy Corbyn, but we had him, I think, trying to score some points by talking about austerity measures the very day after this thing happened, and I didn't like that at all. I think the responsible council has to be held to account for if it has approved construction methods that are not sound. The government has to make sure that there are more rigorous regulations and testing procedures, and the government, as you mentioned before, has to ensure that pay caps don't interfere with the work of real emergency workers, not the people in the back office. I think there needs to be a distinction made. The people who fight the fires, the frontline people, there shouldn't be a cap so much on their salary, maybe on the others who are more administrative. But I think we should recognise the enormous contribution they make in that way.
I don't know whether you read the account of the firefighter that was doing the rounds on social media of just what it was like to sort of go in and out, of that tower and look at sort of the markings of the wall and try and figure out who was where. And, it just sounds like, complete chaos. And I don't mean that in a criticism of the fire service, just dealing with that many people in a small, stretch of space. And you're putting yourself into harm's way. He was working with a woman who had just come back from maternity leave. So she obviously had a young child. And, they are doing an incredible job, whatever you think about, the budgets and what should be spent where. It's not a job I would like to be doing.
No, it's not, and it's that side of it, as opposed to the political side, that should get more attention, I think, even in the media and the press. We're sort of conditioned a bit these days, Sophie, to think that these disasters can be managed pretty quickly and turned around, because we see dramas on television that everything's solved in 58 minutes or 30 minutes, and we think that's real life. And these people who deal with it day by day by day, and I've met some of them, are just incredible people doing an amazing job, and the government needs to do more than just speak about that. But I don't think it's right, for having said that, for it to become a political football. Parties need to work together to solve these sorts of issues. Even driving past Grenfell Tower is moving.